Hi again, everyone. So, as many of you will know, 5 years ago, Jessica co-founded The Honest Company with the idea of putting safer products in the hands of parents, everything from detergents to diapers. She entered into a highly competitive market ruled by the likes of Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson, which are valued at $200 billion and $300 billion respectively. In the span of 5 years, The Honest Company now is worth a reported $1.7 billion. Last year, it launched a second line of business, Honest Cosmetics, and this fall, it's launching a third line, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. The company's done so well, in fact, that it's reportedly talked with Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs about an IPO. But of course, anybody who follows the company knows that it has also hit a couple of rough patches. It's facing a couple of lawsuits from advocacy groups who say the products don't work exactly as advertised. There's also a growing chorus of critics who say the company relies too heavily on fear-based marketing tactics rather than facts. We're going to be talking today with Jessica and Chief Marketing Officer Chris Thorne about all of this stuff and more. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
I just want to point out that we got the black and white memo, and he didn't.
I didn't get it.
No.
Sorry about that, Chris. So Jessica, you were here 4 years ago in San Francisco.
I was.
Not here, literally.
Not here,
Yes,
in
not
San
here,
Francisco.
but disrupt. And at that point, you'd been an entrepreneur for a year, and you talked about how surprised you were by how difficult it is. The Honest Company is much bigger, obviously.
Yes.
You have bigger problems, but more employees. What is the experience like today?
Well, when we launched with the beta website. So, and we were delivering, it was the first time we really had to package many different types of goods in a box and deliver it to people's houses. So the issues were, if we get too much traffic to the website, because we launched with the beta, it was probably going to crash. And so managing that. To are we actually charging the credit cards? Because our front-end technology at the time said that we were, but then there were some instances where we didn't charge credit cards, so we had to actually physically call our customers and say, hey, remember a month ago when you got that package of the Honest Company goods? We never charged you. Can we charge you? Luckily, our customers in that first month let us charge their credit cards, and we're awesome about us doing that as a startup. To like I said, we were packaging detergents and diapers and things. We didn't know how to ship products, so we would throw boxes of products in our parking lot to figure out what was the best method of packing, and that was like our biggest issue 4 years ago. Now it's how do we everything from hiring people who are experts versus generalists. When you first start a company, you hire a bunch of people that are hustlers that are really good at a lot of different things. Now you need someone who's like a complete expert in one field. So it's just restructuring kind of how you operate as a company, and when it comes to hires and things like that, to really taking in your consumers' wants and needs and their buying behavior, so analytics, and integrating it into their shopping experience so it feels more custom, to creating relevant branded content so that not every customer is getting the exact same things, but you're getting something that matters to you. So we're thinking more along those lines of the customer experience and really optimizing the customer experience so it feels authentic and personal to them.
Great. Well, speaking of hiring specialists, Chris, you joined the company. I can't see over there. You joined the company last year after a long career at EA.
Yep.
So I wondered, The Honest Company began as a subscription-only business. Now it's in something like 6,000 stores. Is that right? From like Target to Costco to Whole Foods.
Yep.
Are people predominantly buying through the site or the retail stores? And are they buying subscriptions or are they buying one-offs?
Yeah, I think that's what that's what makes Honest Company such an interesting business when you look at the business model, is it started as an online subscription e-commerce business, and now we are in over 6,000 retail locations, which has become a huge part of the business over the past couple of years. And both of those continue to grow very quickly. So it's really amazing to try and, it's complicated from a marketing perspective to think about your e-commerce, your LTV, cost of acquisition, that type of thing, at the same time building the longer term brand story for people shopping at retail. And then just to complicate matters even more, we're going to add a third leg, and we've opened our first Honest Beauty retail location, and we'll be looking to expand those in the future. But it's a really unique business model.
And I want to talk about Honest Beauty. I'm very interested in it. The packaging looks beautiful.
Thank you.
But I think everyone in this room is very interested in what's happening in terms of the lawsuit. So I figured let's just, address the elephant or elephants in the room, as it were, right away. So let's see. First, I guess there was an advocacy group last year that, I'm sorry, most recently, an advocacy group, I guess last week or the week before, complained that your baby formula contains 11 synthetic ingredients. Why does your baby formula contain 11 synthetic ingredients? Jessica, do you want to answer?
Well, at a high level, I kind of just want to comment on the lawsuits in general, because we really want to be transparent and open about things. I think we take all customer issues and everything very seriously. Our customer service team is one thing we really pride ourselves on. We take more than 5,000 calls a day from customers and trying to address all of their needs and learn from them. The lawsuits that we've been in the media a bunch lately, the unfortunate thing that often happens is sometimes while we support these consumer advocate groups in a lot of ways, Honest often gets involved in the discussion because of Jessica's name, because of the Honest Company's name, it brings a lot of attention to the issue, and it's actually a very smart strategy by a lot of these groups to draw attention to what they're trying to do. It's unfortunate for us because we do get brought into these. The organic formula that you brought up, there is one way to get certified as USDA organic, and we are certified as that. Again, that consumer advocacy group, their issue is with the government's standards and how they determine those. It's not with Honest. Honest complies with all of the organic standards. We stand behind that formula. One of our founders, Christopher Gavigan, who just had his fourth child, developed that for his son he had failure to thrive and to take that. So we stand by that product. It's a fantastic product. The good news is that we have a very informed, savvy consumer who does their homework, who does their research, and reads beyond the headlines that put Jessica's name in there. That's such an important thing to us, and the evidence is this: is Q1 was our strongest quarter ever, and we followed it up in April with our strongest month ever.
That's great. And I hear what you're saying about Jessica's brand being a sort of an easy target. And it should also be noted that CPG companies get sued constantly. But I do think that people are wondering about some of the products. The mineral sunscreen was another issue for you. Last year, customers said, hey, this is not working. I applied it on my children and now they're burned. I know you can't really address the lawsuit specifically, but tell me what's going on with that product. Because I have to say, I'm like smack dab in the middle of your target demographic. I have sons, and based on recent Amazon reviews, I would still be a little bit reluctant to buy it. People are still complaining about it. Maybe they have an agenda, I have no idea, but I think people are just kind of sort of curious.
Yeah, and that's one thing about, we're not perfect. We're always trying to learn and learn from our consumers about what we need to focus on. One thing we learned in sunscreen was education. So most people are used to using chemical-based sunscreens that are absorbed into the skin. The UV rays are absorbed into the skin. We make a mineral-based sunscreen that sits on top of the skin and reflects the UV rays off. But to educate people on the differences and the differences of application and reapplication. So after that issue from last summer, we just launched our new sunscreen this summer, and the entire campaign was about education, the differences between mineral-based and chemical-based. So that's that constant learning, that we don't just discount these as, You know, they're trying to leverage Jessica's name to get more attention for their issue. We learn from them, we talk to consumers. All of the consumers that had issues with our sunscreen, we actually proactively called them. The founders got on the phone. We take it that seriously and always learning, because there's always something to be learned, whether we should have been involved or not. That's important to us.
That's great. So you did reformulate it. I think that's important to note. After the problem surfaced, or it was just education, or
it's actually just a part of our innovation that we're always doing. We actually listen to consumers, and our sunscreen had been an SPF 30. They were looking for an SPF 50, so we reformulated it to make it an SPF 50. And that's that constant feedback with those 5,000 touch points a day. We have so much data. And that's the amazing thing of that e-commerce business, and why it's, even as we go into retail, it's so critical to us, because we get all that real-time customer feedback, and we can put that into our products.
I do want to move on to your things, but one last related question, because in researching your company in advance of this interview, I saw a lot of this online where people said, the company has sort of repeatedly drawn a line between its products and things like allergies and childhood cancers. And the evidence is a little bit thin that allergies are caused by environmental products. People seem to think it's more a culture of over-sanitization or an increase in airborne pollens tied to climate change. With regard to childhood cancers, which are rare, the National Institutes of Health seems to think it's more likely gene mutations in the womb. I'm just wondering, do you think it's appropriate to associate those things or use them in your marketing materials, or do you do that less now?
We never used it in marketing materials.
But I've seen you, I guess.
It was definitely, one of the reasons why I started the company. I suffer from terrible asthma and allergies as a kid, and I had to eliminate a lot of conventional products from my life just to not have to be on constant medication. And I did have a hard time finding products out there that worked and performed and didn't have a lot of the, mostly for me it was fragrances.
Okay.
And them synthetic fragrances that I was allergic to. And when I was trying to find alternative products that didn't have a lot of these different types of fragrances in them, and also other types of ingredients, it wouldn't perform, or it was 5 times more expensive. And so I was like, there's got to be something that works and doesn't have all of these things that are making me sneeze and have watery eyes and break out in a rash. And I didn't know if my kid was going to have the same type of sensitive skin and be allergy or asthma prone. So I wanted to make sure that the products automatically didn't have a lot of those ingredients in them.
Okay.
So that's just where it came from as my own personal story. But we never put that on package as like a marketing material. It just came from my own experience growing up with asthma and allergies and spending a lot of time in the hospital.
Okay. I guess I just see.
And it was environmentally caused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the fun stuff. Your cosmetics line, which is beautiful. You launched that in the fall.
Thank you.
There's something like 80 products at this point?
Yeah, we have 87 we launched with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting that you launched this pop-up retail store in LA as well. You have, great traffic to your site. You've got access to customers through 6,000 stores. Why add that cost center onto your bottom line? I'm sure there's a good reason for it.
Well, I mean, I think it's someone walking into your own branded experience. You can walk into a third-party retailer and, they are delivering their version of your brand. It is The Honest Company, but when you walk into a Nordstrom, it's Nordstrom's version of The Honest Company. Or when you walk into Target, it's Target's version of The Honest Company. But when you walk into an honest beauty retail environment, versus like an Ulta, which is where we have our honest beauty products, you get one gondola at Ulta, which is great, and we love it, and we love them as partners, but it's very different when you walk into a fully branded, immersive experience. So we're looking to expand our retail footprint, our own branded retail stores, and what we found is something really interesting, is that we have a surprising amount of sales that are monthly subscriptions in our retail store. and people
That's
are
really
actually
interesting.
coming back into our store and picking out what their next bundle is going to be, which is pretty cool.
That is. I haven't heard of that happening before.
Yeah, I think we might be the first.
Oh, that's great. So what's your next location?
Well, we're looking to expand in Los Angeles and in New York, because those are our two dominant markets,
Okay, great.
and then expand from there.
And then I understand your third line that you're launching this fall is sort of related to the cosmetics line, and I don't know if maybe it'll appear in those stores, but it's a hair colorant or a hair colorant line. Is that
No,
correct?
it's
or no?
hair care.
Oh, hair care. Okay.
Yeah, so full hair care. We're doing hair care products, which are shampoo, conditioner products, and then also some styling products. So we're launching that in the fall.
That's wonderful. Well, that
Yeah.
seems like, I'm sorry, Chris, I can't see very well. That seems like that has the
He
potential.
knows a lot about our hair care
Yeah.
products and
Need
our
one,
new
though.
foundations that are coming out too.
We need a product to get rid of gray, though. We don't have that yet.
No, I think the gray is good.
All right.
Into the gray.
Yeah, I
My
agree. I
husband
like the
has
gray.
good gray too.
Of course, these lines, which look like they could be as big, if not bigger, than the Honest Company itself, take capital. You've raised $222 million to this point. There's been reports, or a report, that the company's talking with investment bankers about an IPO. Can you comment on whether that's a possibility in 2016?
Do you want to make the big announcement, or do you want me to?
I think you should.
We are going to continue our policy of not commenting on financial matters publicly.
Yeah.
Regards to the reports about the banks and stuff, we constantly talk to advisors and banks and everything to stay up to date on trends and competitors and everything. So there's nothing out of the ordinary there.
So I suppose if I asked you about this more recent Women's Wear Daily report that you're thinking about M&A, you would also say you can't comment?
Yes, I would say that.
There was a more recent report saying that because the market has cooled off, that's a possibility. Jessica, before we go, I wanted to talk to you about just your work. I mean, I know you feel very strongly about being a female entrepreneur. I guess, is this something that you see yourself doing for the rest of your life, or do you see a day where you really think, this is a wonderful, fruitful experience, but I'd sort of prefer to get back to the business of acting or pursue some other passion?
I'm not sure where my path will take me. I have found that, starting this company has opened a lot of doors for me to, I really appreciate mentors in my life. And I do get to see a lot of really intelligent, really innovative business ideas coming from women. And it's cool to be able to sort of be a mentor, because I've been there, done that to some degree, and watch them grow their businesses and help out wherever I can. So that's like a really interesting new thing that's sort of come into my life, and it's really cool to see how many women out there are starting companies and really doing really cool stuff in many different disciplines, from healthcare to fashion. So
That's great. And
Yeah.
do you talk to your daughters at all about your work? I know your oldest is, 7 or 8
yeah,
now?
she's here, my oldest. Oh, hi, Honor. She comes to my office. She was there when I had a 2,000 square foot cottage for an office, and now we have 80,000 square feet of an office.
Wow.
At our headquarters, and we have 2 distribution centers and another office in San Francisco. We just opened a small office in Hong Kong and one in Austin.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, I mean, she's seen the business over the last 4 years grow, yeah, I think it's cool for kids to kind of see their parents doing stuff and doing things that they're passionate about.
I couldn't agree.
And I do ask her opinion on a lot of things, because kids, they have no filter. They let you know
Oh,
when
that's
they
interesting.
like something or when they hate something.
What products does she not like?
A couple of because we use essential oils as a fragrance for a lot of our detergents, or for all of our detergents and our personal care products. And you know, I have to run all of those scents by her first to see. She's like, no, it's yucky, or I love that.
Yucky.
Yeah.
Most damning things.
Why not?
Great. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks. Thank you.